Hey y'all, Rick Sky here. Welcome back to another Timepieces for Tomorrow video. And like always, I want to remind everyone, check out the Timepieces for Tomorrow merchandise, t-shirts, sweatshirts, coffee mugs, stickers, and more. You can find it all linked below. And within this video, I want to talk about what are the best two Tudor wristwatches and why. So there's a lot of Tudor references available. Obviously, since Tudor unveiled the Black Bay series several years ago, they've produced an abundance of wristwatches. Not just an abundance of wristwatches, but an abundance of high-quality wristwatches. But from those Tudors that have been released, and my comments are in regards to Tudor's watches post-Black Bay. So anything that is Black Bay and newer, that's what I'm referring to. So my favorite two, and we're going to examine these up close here, but I've got them in got one on the wrist and one in the palm, and one on the wrist. But let's go ahead and flip down to this other camera here, and I'm going to show you the exceptional detail here. So let's see. Let's go ahead and put these gloves on. That was a comment from several viewers, like, "Hey man, you know the hands are distracting, so you need to wear some gloves." So just for all of y'all commenters, I'm going to wear these gloves to inspect these wristwatches. So let's see, let's go ahead and get these on here. There we go. Got both the gloves on. Now, so you can see both of these. Now immediately, you'll notice a design difference between the two. This video is geared towards wristwatch enthusiasts of all experience levels. But in my right hand, the blue one, that is the Tudor Black Bay 58. So it's a 39mm case size. It does not have a date. It's got, obviously it's got these snowflake style hands, which is a Tudor, let's see, I got some fuzz on it. Is kind of a Tudor design thing. So you can see it's got the snowflake style hands. It's 200 meters of water resistance, or 660 feet. It does have a die bezel. You can hear that really nice click action. That's a 60 click bezel, meaning that if I go from, say, the 12 o'clock position back to the 12 o'clock, there will be 60 clicks. This has a domed sapphire crystal, which gives it that, that's just a water spot on the case, which gives it that vintage, old school style look. That's an aluminum bezel insert. And by the way, this video is in 4K, so if you've got 4K, crank it up to see the full detail. But yeah, that's an aluminum bezel insert that's a navy blue color. Since it's aluminum, over time it should develop a very pleasing patina. So that's actually an advantage in the eyes of a lot of collectors over a ceramic bezel. So a ceramic bezel is probably not going to fade or crack. This bezel will likely fade, may scratch, but it's going to give that wristwatch that used look that a lot of people like, patina. The dial, to look at it, very similar design cues to a Rolex Submariner. Obviously, as I mentioned, the hands are different. They've got what they call the snowflake style hands. The case itself, oyster style case. Tudor is the sister brand of Rolex. Both Tudor and Rolex are owned by the Hans Wilsdorf Foundation. It's got a screw down crown, but there are no crown guards. Crown guards being the pieces that go there that may better protect the crown from dislodging unintentionally. If you're jumping off the side of a boat or whatever. One thing I like about the Black Bay 58 over most of the larger Black Bays is that the case thickness or the case height is very insignificant. And the wearability, I wear this and I wear a Rolex Submariner that's 40mm, and I can wear both of those just as comfortably. So don't assume that 39mm is too small because it's less than 40mm. You might be surprised. And you can see the dimensional elements of the dial. I feel that Tudor's done an exceptional job. This timepiece is definitely a future classic in my opinion. The bracelet, it's a topic of controversy. Those rivets, those fake or faux rivets, that's something that some people don't like. But they're there to give it that old school style look. Now the inside of the bracelet You know, if you're familiar with Rolex, this is an oyster style bracelet, so you get that extreme comfort. You know, doesn't pull your arm hair and that sort of stuff. You can see how comfortable that looks. Now, this particular reference, and this may change when Tudor releases their next Black Bay 58s. This has 3 points of adjustment on the clasp, but it does not have a glide lock style mechanism. So to perform toolless adjustments like you can with a lot of the current reference Rolex Sports, you can't do it with this one. So very nice clasp, very comfortable. You know, case back, it's an oyster style case back. I mean, this is a, I like to say it's a Rolex that it doesn't have the Rolex brand on it, but it's got all the Rolex DNA because, again, both Tudor and Rolex are owned by the Hans Wilsdorf Foundation. So you're getting current technology in an older style look. You know, you got the aluminum bezel. You don't have all the precious metal finishings like you get on the Rolex Sports wristwatch, but you've got a 70-hour power reserve, which is phenomenal. This is a Breitling movement. So Tudor did a movement swap with Breitling. So it's an exceptional movement. There's really nothing bad that one should be able to say about this timepiece. Now, if there is, you know, comment below, because I'm not a dictator. I want to hear what you have. Do you have something bad to say? Do you have something positive to say? There's something I failed to mention. I mean, this is a wear anywhere sports watch, super nice. One of the two best Tudors in my opinion. Now, the other best Tudor that I'm going to pull out here, this one's different. Obviously, this one's different because this is a chronograph. And chronograph mean not to be confused with chronometer. Both of these are chronometers, meaning that they're certified by the COSC to meet or exceed certain timing criteria. But this is both a chronograph and a chronometer. Think of chronograph as stopwatch. Because see, you can engage, you can unscrew these pushers, you can engage the stopwatch, and that'll start to count. So this is a a chronograph, which a lot of people would just call a stopwatch. Like the Tudor Black Bay 58 that we just looked at, this has a black. Now this one's black, that one was blue. Now keep in mind there is a black bezeled Black Bay 58, but I'm going to talk about that one here in a minute. So yeah, so this has the black. The reason I went with the black instead of the white, so I went with the black primary dial instead of the white, is because the hands that are white, the snowflake style hands, they stand out better against the black primary dial. And a lot of people don't realize that because like, man, I want to get the Panda, I want to get the Tudor Panda. And they just want to get the Panda because it's called the Panda, I think. They don't realize that this is the inverted Panda, or the reverse Panda, is actually, in my opinion, the better reference because of the dial legibility. You know, being able to see those hands. And also the visual effect of a black primary dial, this particular timepiece being 41 millimeters, the black visually gives it a smaller appearance than a white primary dial. That's just how the different colors work. It does have a date complication at the 6 o'clock position, but unlike a Rolex, there's no cyclops. So that's actually a desirable thing in my opinion. So it's got the date at 6, but there's no cyclops. It does have 200 meters, 660 feet of water resistance, just like the Tudor Black Bay 58 that we just talked about. But what's interesting about this, notice that they used red for the depth rating. Now, when Rolex uses red, and they used red on the tip of the chronograph's hand, also, when Rolex uses red, it's often significant. And to me, I wouldn't be surprised if this particular reference would not be discontinued soon. And correct me if I'm wrong, comment below and tell me what you think. But, you know, I think that the usage of red is very significant. This is just an exceptional looking piece, just like the Tudor Black Bay 58. Now this one is a little bit case thicker. You know, the case is a little bit thicker, or, you know, case is taller on the wrist, however you want to refer to it. But it's still extremely comfortable and very well proportioned. This, unlike a lot of chronographs that you're going to find on the market, this has screw-down pushers. So here's a screw-down pusher there, and obviously a screw-down crown. So you get the value add of having this as a swim watch as well. But just make sure it's screwed down and you're not using those chronograph complications in the water, because you could introduce water into the movement. So it's kind of You know, and see it's got the small seconds here. You can see that. So the big hand, of course, is for the chronograph if you're using it as a stopwatch. And then the small seconds over here at the 9 o'clock position is like your sweeping hand. That's the equivalent of your sweeping hand on your Tudor Black Bay 58. So both of these are great. Why do I say these are the two best Tudors? Well, here's the reason. You're getting just a simple wind and wear Tudor Black Bay 58, no date, you know, just a sweeping seconds hand and hour and minute. But you do have the rotating dive bezel, which is nice. This one, obviously, the bezel does not rotate. This one has the date, which is cool. You get a date on this, and you also get the chronograph, as I mentioned. So you're kind of getting two different aesthetics. And again, the bracelet, this one is a little bit thick, a little bit wider than the Tudor Black Bay 58's bracelet, but it's the same bracelet design. It's got the faux rivets, and then it's got the the clasp, the really nice clasp. And I didn't mention earlier, but this clasp has ceramic ball bearings in it. Actually, something I haven't seen on the Rolex Sports. Have you? You know, tell me what you think. Tell me if you've heard of that. But so that's actually really cool. And again, both of these, curiously enough, the case back of both of these says Tudor manufacturer movement, which implies in-house movement. But again, just like the Tudor Black Bay 58, this particular Tudor has a Breitling movement because again, Tudor did a movement swap with Breitling. So a very nice movement, even though Tudor badges it in-house. And I think they badge it in-house because, you know, they added a lot of refinements. I think both of these probably have an anti-magnetic hairspring and some other features. Again, both of these are 70-hour power reserve movements, so phenomenal power reserve. If you don't know what power reserve is, it just means if it's fully wound, whether you wound it by using the crown or it just wound while you were wearing it, if it's fully wound, you could expect to get around 70 hours of continuous power. So if you rotated these two, you wore one day, one the next, or, you know, if you wore one for 2 days, you know, that would be 48 hours. 24 times 2 is 48. You know, you could rotate these two, and that's why I say that's one of the other reasons why it's the perfect two-piece, as Archibald Chesterfield III might say. You know, he might say this is the perfect two-piece combo meal deal. And the reason that would be the case is because you're getting two wristwatches that you can wear anywhere. Both are highly water resistant, 200 meters, 660 feet. Both look different. And there's a reason, and I told you I was going to circle back to the black dial Tudor Black Bay 58. So I would go with the blue Tudor Black Bay 58 and the black Tudor Black Bay Chrono. Again, the reason the black Tudor Black Bay Chrono, number one, the hands stand out better against the black primary dial. And number two, visually, black wears smaller than a white primary dial. And this being 41 millimeters, I don't want it to visually wear larger. Some people may, but it's not my style. You know what I mean? And then the reason to go with blue in this is that, well, you got black bezel on that, you've got blue on this. You've got two pieces that, you know, only if you say you only wore two different wristwatches, you could rotate these two and have a different color and a completely different wrist appearance. Because again, this has no date. It's just, you know, a rotating dive bezel and a sweeping seconds hand and hour and minute hands. I mean, that's it. So it's very simple. But another reason to go with this, again, these, in my opinion, are the two best Tudor watches. Another reason to go with these two watches and this color combination is that if you go with the black Bay 58, which you may not be aware of, the black Bay 58, which I don't have in the studio right now, that one uses faux patina for the dial. So it gives it an artificial aging look, which some people may not like. This one does not use faux patina, so this one will develop a natural patina with wear. So, you know, wearing it to the beach, wearing it in the hot tubs with the chlorine, washing your hands with it, taking a shower with it, you know, banging it into a wall, you know, whatever you do, you know, this should develop a natural patina. So there's advantages beyond the awesome color combo that you have here, blue or black and blue. But the other thing is you're getting something that doesn't use faux patina. Now, I will say, if they had this in black without the use of the faux patina, it would be an awesome piece, because one thing that the black one did, the Black Bay 58 also utilizes red. And, you know, again, as I mentioned earlier, anytime Rolex or Tudor utilize red, it's often significant. So, you know, I would have liked to have seen that option. And who knows, at the time of filming this video, Tudor may be releasing, Tudor may be releasing some additional references, because, I mean, the Black Bay is without a doubt the Tudor Black Bay. Whoa. The Tudor Black Bay is without a doubt the wristwatch line that has revived Tudor, because Tudor was in a bad position there for a while. I mean, they just weren't releasing desirable references. I mean, you had Rolex, which has always been good, always been, consistent with their, even as they've added new technologies to the Rolexes, they've remained consistent from a visual perspective. I mean, you can look at a current reference, Rolex Submariner, and then look at a Rolex Submariner from 30 years or so ago, and you can look at both of those Submariners. You could say, okay, those are both Rolex Submariners, because they haven't strayed away from the design of the of the wristwatches. And that's it's Tudor now. They're doing something right. I mean, with Black Bay, they're definitely doing something right, because it does have that clean and timeless look. I mean, I'm convinced that both of these timepieces will be future classics. I mean, they're already super popular. A lot of collectors, and not necessarily collectors, but a lot of potential wristwatch buyers, something that often turns them away from Tudor is the fact that now in the past, Tudor would utilize components like the Rolex crown logo on the crown. One of the older Tudors even said Submariner on the dial, but at least temporarily Tudor strayed away from that. So there's a lot of people that are interested in wristwatches, and even though the Tudor Black Bay 58 and the Tudor Black Bay Chrono are exceptional watches, they stray away from them because they don't see, the word Submariner on say this. They would rather it say Tudor Submariner than to say just Tudor Geneve and 200 meters, 660 feet, chronometer officially certified. And then there's people that will look at that, chronometer officially certified. Of course, with Rolexes, you get superlative chronometer. So there's a lot of people, there's different personality types that are involved with wristwatches. Some people, they just want to get one or a few wristwatches. Some people, if they do just get one or a few, that would bother them, because they feel in their mind that they've acquired something that's in their mind inferior. The reality is that these are just as good. Both of these wristwatches, in my opinion, are just as good. Actually, I will say better than your vintage Rolexes, because your vintage Rolexes, they were older. They used older technology. They used older materials. This is current technology in a design that is old looking. These have that old school style, vintage look, as we demonstrated within this video when we're looking at them up close. But even though they have that old school vintage look, from a technological perspective, they've got the latest technology within. So both of these, in my opinion, these are the two best Tudors. And I know there's a lot of Tudors out there, and I want to hear your comments below. I mean, what are your two favorite Tudor wristwatches and why? And do you feel that my choice of these being the two perfect Tudors, am I wrong? And if I'm wrong, why am I wrong? What would you have done better? Why are these not the two best Tudors? So tell me what you think. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and ring that bell icon, and that'll notify you whenever I post another video. And check out all my timepieces for tomorrow videos. And again, if you're a wristwatch dealer, a pre-owned wristwatch dealer, I'm looking for a relationship with a pre-owned wristwatch dealer for a few reasons. Number one, I need hands-on access to a variety of timepieces to incorporate within upcoming timepieces for tomorrow videos. Number two, it could be beneficial for your pre-owned wristwatch business, because as I review wristwatches, if you're a pre-owned wristwatch dealer and I've got a relationship with you, I could push traffic your way. So that could be that, hey, take it for what it's worth. That could be beneficial. So please reach out to me. The best way to reach out to me is just review@timepiecesfortomorrow.com. And you can also use review@timepiecesfortomorrow.com if you want to send me a photo or photos of your wristwatch or wristwatch collection for me to, anonymously of course, I'll refer to you by first name or alias, review your wristwatch or wristwatch collection. Thanks for your viewership. I like to have a lot of fun with this. Again, I've been involved with wristwatches for well over 30 years. So I don't claim to be an expert, but I do enjoy this. And if you've got suggestions for future video topics, comment below, because I'm always looking for future video topics to address. Thanks for your viewership, and y'all have a good day. Thanks again for watching this video, and want to remind everyone, be sure to subscribe and ring that bell icon when you do to be notified whenever I post another video. And if you've got a wristwatch or a wristwatch collection that you'd like for me to try to review with an upcoming video, send me an email, review@timepiecesfortomorrow.com. Thanks for your viewership, and y'all have a good day.